A very warm welcome to the sixth lecture and discussion in the Open Health Systems Colloquium series. Its goal is to bring together leading thinkers to present life science issues in an effort to provoke innovative, holistic, and paradigm shifting approaches to life sciences. We have a very exciting and inspiring session ahead of us today. Today's discussion is centered around the work of Dr. Douglas Engelbart, a visionary decades ahead of his time who believed that the collective human intelligence is exponentially greater than the individual, and this collective intelligence can be harnessed and augmented using technology. We are honored to have with us Dr. Jim Spohrer, who will lead today's discussion with his talk, In Doug's Words, Remembering Doug Engelbart.
I'm Jim Spohrer. I'm here at the Almaden Research Center in San Jose, California. Beautiful hills behind us here. Doug came here many times. I invited him here many times to talk to our executives, to talk to our researchers about his vision for the future, a very positive vision for the future. And it really had a huge influence on IBM's approach to Watson and artificial intelligence, which was an augmented intelligence approach. He also had a great influence on our desire to do more in the open. And it's a real honor for me to lead IBM's open source data and AI initiative. So let's learn from Doug, in his own words, what is an augmentation system.
Those things mostly are developed in order so they can interact with this layer of other things that our culture provides us. Okay, there are a lot of things in there that are brought to you, tools and all sorts of stuff that let you live within a social structure and be effective at your interacting. And there's a whole subset of those that help you be effective at your working with knowledge work, et cetera, too. So take all those things together and call them an augmentation system. That's what augments humans. And for good practical purposes, let's make two parts of that. One side's got all the technology in it, and the other side has all the other stuff. So I call it tool system and human system.
Before there was Moore's law, there was Engelbart's law. Doug understood the accelerating change of technology, but unlike many, he also saw there's huge potential in people. People have enormous potential, and this is really key. Doug's vision included both these parts. Too many times people are just focused over here and they don't get the full augmentation system. So Doug makes a little joke about that next, which I find funny. Invented the mouse. He did the 1968, the mother of all demos that showed how people and their skills can learn to use these new devices. Imagine the first time you used a mouse. I mean, kids grow up with it now, but, I remember using a mouse and it was like, how do I do this? And so the human side has to evolve with the tool side. And again, Doug's vision of collective IQ increases. He has as much faith in our ability as people to advance our culture, our methods, our language, our learning as the technological side. I just want to mention this book. It's Humankind by a Dutch historian, Rutger Bregman. And what's great about this book is it debunks a lot of the myths about people. And Doug had a very, very high view of people. A lot of people said, Doug's view of people is unrealistic. They're not as collaborative as that. They're not as kind as that. Doug is a wonderful visionary, but it can't be real because people aren't like that. So read Humankind. I wish Doug was alive today. I would be discussing this book with Doug if I could today, because it's so in line with his vision, and he was so right, not only about the technology side, but the human side. So let's hear from Christina Engelbart, Doug's daughter, about what Doug would be thinking of us today and the work that remains to do.
This man was not a pessimist, quite to the contrary, but he was a realist, and this is what kept him up at night. What does that look like? So basically, he thought it's a race. The digital technology revolution is just soaring, the exploding rate and scale of change. What he saw was the single greatest existential challenge of our time. Not climate change, not cyber war, not population explosions. The single greatest challenge and opportunity is our ability to raise the curve on our collective ability to collectively solve important problems. So that being the single greatest existential challenge of our time. And that's why he dedicated his life to solving that problem. starting from the beginning, and all the technology he prototyped, it was all in the service of prototyping the organization of the future that would be fast and flexible and highly involved so that it could tackle important problems. And I think they did a pretty good job. This is the cornerstone of a larger strategy that he came up with from the very beginning and refined all throughout his career. So he put it in terms of a bootstrap paradigm map, because the idea is that we need to be bootstrapping our capabilities. We need to be bootstrapping our organizations. We need to be bootstrapping our collective IQ. So what are the limiting factors? And what he came up with was the single greatest limiting factor is the paradigms that people bring to looking at the world, how they fit in the world, and where our world needs to go. What are the opportunities for change? So he created a paradigm map, and so all of these tiles on there are what he thought where we needed to shift our paradigm in order to prepare for the future, jump the track, and get on the right trajectory. So this brings us to what he thought was the greatest opportunity for our time, the greatest opportunity to leverage our collective smarts, to launch a serious effort improving collective IQ. He started that in the 1960s, but it kind of trailed off, and what happened? So this is really a serious problem, and we need a serious effort to do that. Focusing also how the collective IQ can be leveraged to improve how we improve. ABC and the way that we have to accelerate how we improve, not just improve the capability. Probably the greatest opportunity for single point of leverage in all of this is to start networking the people, the organizations, the initiatives that are working on the toughest problems, and bring them together to help collectively guide us into this. So we haven't scratched the surface, and my dad would be the first one to tell you, noble effort. But here's another really important point where he was talking about the importance of the co-evolution, to a reminder that technology should not aim to replace humans, rather amplify human capabilities, whether it's the individual, whether it's the team, the initiative, the organization, the institution, or society at large. When you think of Doug Engelbart, please, the least important question you can ask about Engelbart is, what did he build? The most important question being, what world was he trying to create?